I'll do one or two, and then I'll leave you some time. Justin and Tyson are beginning an exercise program to train for a football season or for a football season. Justin weighs 150 pounds, hopes to gain 2 pounds per week. Tyson weighs 195 pounds and hopes to lose 1 pound per week. In how many weeks will the boys weigh the same amount? What will that weight be?
Oh, what's this like?
What's that?
What's this like area of that?
Solving word problems, applications.
Cross, right?
Oh, that systems of equations. That's 2 units away. Yeah, let statement. What's x going to be?
Wait, is this the same thing? Like 2 equations on each side?
Yeah.
Equations.
Equation on each side. X is what? Number of weeks. All right, so we have our 2 individuals, Justin and Tyson, and they need to be, or their expressions need to be equal, because they said, in how many weeks will the boys weigh the same amount? 195 weeks, exactly. All right, that's possible. All right.
Just not exist.
So there's a fixed amount and there's a variable quantity in each scenario for each person. What we're starting with and what we're gaining per week. So what would be the expression for J? 150 plus 2x? Yes.
Oh, he hopes to gain.
Starting with 150, every week that goes by, he gains 2 pounds. What about Tyson? 195 minus x. All right. So one's bulking up, one's trimming down. So we want to solve for x. Yeah, add x to both sides. I don't do this very often, but you're welcome to do it. You can merge 2 steps if they're of the similar variety. So you see how I'm adding x to both sides? But in the next step, I'm going to want to subtract 150, right?
Yeah.
So we can do that at the same time. I'll do that a different color.
Wait, can you always do that at the same time?
If it's the same, if it's a similar operation, yes. But if you're doing addition and let's say division, then no.
What about multiplication?
Same idea as division. So multiplication and division go together, addition and subtraction go together. You can combine steps in that regard. All right, so gone. We have 3x equals 45. What do we do now?
Divide 3 on both sides and you get 15.
Divide by 3 on both sides, you get x equals 15.
So 15 weeks.
All right, they presented the question as a word problem. That's an indicator of how they want their answer. Not necessarily as a word problem, but in words. All right, so you need to know that if you just leave it as x equals on a test, not getting full credit. All right, you need to justify to me that you know what that x represents. And by the way, sometimes it'll be a trick question where x isn't the final answer. Maybe it's 2 times x, maybe it's 10 times x. Maybe it's you had to find x and 2x, and those are 2 sides of a rectangle, and you needed to put an answer that was the area. You know, so be on guard for what you need to actually figure out. So what we're going to say here is a rephrasing of the question. Yeah?
In 15 weeks, Justin and Tyson will weigh the same.
In 15 weeks, Justin and Tyson will weigh the same. If you want to use J and T as abbreviations, that's fine.
Well, do you have to include how much they will weigh? Can't you just say?
We'll get to that in a second. In 15 weeks, J and T will weigh the same. And then you can just write what the weight would be. The weight would be equal to meh pounds. And what is that Weight.
180 pounds.
180 pounds. How do we know that?
Because 15 is x, you just plug it into either side of the equation, either 195 minus 15 is 80, or 150 plus 30 is 80.
Boom shakalaka. That means good job. All right. Yeah. So perfect explanation. Can't even say it better myself. So I'm not going to try. Very good. It's very rare that that happens, but it makes me feel good when it does. Good for you. All right. I'll do. Let's see. This is kind of along the same line, so I'll leave you to do that one. Let's do one of these bad boys. 3 times the sum of a number and 4 is the same as 18 more than the number. Well, fortunately, they're kind of defining the variable for us. A number, the number. So, you need to define your variables, right? In the past, that meant you needed to write let statements. Now it means you just need to tell me what the variable is, what it represents. This is perfectly acceptable. You don't have to write let x equal a number. You could just label the part of the problem that is what you want to replace with the actual value of x. All right. So it's a little thing, but it's it's like 2 seconds of saved time. So whenever you can start to wrangle up some of those extra seconds, then that means you're going to finish your test quicker, which means you'll have more time to tackle bonus. Right? So you want to think of things that way. And again, yeah, I mean, don't you want to be more efficient? Of course you do, right? You want to get stuff done faster? You want things to come quicker? This is a step in the right direction. All right? 3 times the sum of a number. So 3 times the, I'll do it like this, the sum of the number and 4. So 3 times the sum of the number, of a number and 4, is the same as, that's the verbal way of saying equals, 18 more than the number. That part's a little nicer.
Wait, could you just write 3x?
Without the parentheses? Unfortunately, unless you write 3x plus 12,
Oh, yeah.
unfortunately you can't. Otherwise, you're
Wait,
going
you can't
to
what?
just write 3x without the parentheses, because it would be a different expression. 18 more than the number, so 18 more than the number. When you're doing addition, more than, greater than, etc., it doesn't matter what order you do it in, but when it's subtraction, if it's like 18 less than the number, what would that look like?
Minus.
Right, but what would the actual expression be if it said 18 less than the number? X minus the 18. All right, we're reducing the number by 18. If you did 18 minus x, you got it backwards. All right, so now we have an equation. So we have 2 points out of possible 4 for a question like this on a test. First step, first point, define your variable. Second point, write the equation. Third point, solve the equation. The only way I can make this worth more than 4 points would be if I put the dreaded phrase and justify each step with a property of equality.
We've never done that.
That would be terrible.
It'll be,
So yeah, a different conversation for a different day. Next step, just yell it out.
Subtract x on both sides.
Subtract the x on both sides. Simultaneous with that, we could do what?
subtract 12 on both sides.
Indeed. So we got some good cancellation here. So meh and meh. So 2x equals 6. Divide.
X equals 3.
X equals 3. All right. Brief statement. So again, it said find the number. This is just going to sound so stupid, but you have to write it for full credit.
3 is the number.
The number equals 3.
No, 3 is the number.
You don't need the quotes. I'm just doing that so that anybody who looks at this solution online doesn't look at the bottom and be like, the number is 3. Like, is this guy an imbecile? Like, yes, 3 is a number. Excellent observation. No. So, yeah, that's for trolls more than anything else.